All right, hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Shaheen Manjezi. For those of you who are new, I talk about how to really look after, maintain your state of being so that you can manifest the life of your desires. So, in today's video, I want to talk about mental conversations and more specifically, dealing with people. The mental conversations that you have with people who you no longer might physically see in your life anymore. But regardless, nonetheless, you still have mental conversations with them. And this is common with people who maybe, you have an ex, you were dating someone, maybe you were dating someone for a while, you have a history with them, and maybe the breakup didn't go so well. Maybe the relationship got toxic or something like that. And you find yourself still having or holding resentment towards that person and mentally rehearsing conversations with them in your head. And this was kind of brought to light to me by, an event I went to last week with a friend of mine. And it turns out his ex was also at that event, and we they didn't interact or anything like that. But at the day after, we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, I found myself. And like a side note, like his ex had brought another guy with her. She was with someone else. And he said, yeah, I found myself, the day after we were talking about it, he's like, yeah, I found myself, I guess still holding some resentment. And in my head, I started thinking about, just thoughts of jealousy. And I was having conversations with her in my head that were very toxic, while I was there at that event. But the good news is he said he'd caught himself doing it. He had some awareness of it, and that's good. Having awareness of having toxic conversations in your mind is really good, because that's the first step to awakening and changing your thinking and your patterns. So, that kind of got me to thinking about how when we hold grudges with other people who maybe they're no longer in our lives, it could even be people who are deceased. I remember Wayne Dyer, the author, the philosopher. He talked about how he had a father in his life who was never in his who was just never in his life. He wasn't really a father figure. He didn't really know his father, and he had gotten news that his father had passed away, and this was many years. He was already, a university professor, and he was about to get tenure at the university that he was working with. So he had already established his career and everything. He was in his 30s, 40s, something like that. And he had gotten news that his father had passed away. He didn't know his father. He was estranged from his father. His father left when they were young kids. And he talks about this story where he drives to his father's grave, and he didn't drive there. He didn't drive there to pay respects. He actually went down there to curse his father's grave and just express all his hatred and resentment that he had. And he goes to the grave, and he says whatever he needs to say, and just says bad things to the father while the father's dead already. And he gets in the car, and something in his mind tells him, you don't leave here feeling anger or resentment towards your father, or else it's going to ruin your life. So he goes back to the grave, and he forgives his father, and he says, you know what, I didn't know you. I don't know what you were going through. I know that you were probably doing the best with what you have. From this day forward, I only send you love. And he talks about how he felt this huge weight lifted off of him. And he tells a story of how he immediately feels this urgent impulse to go check into a hotel or a motel. And he stayed at that hotel for 14 days and wrote his best-selling book, Your Erroneous Zones. I'm talking about Wayne Dyer here. So, just goes to show how, like, you shouldn't. A lot of us, we have this history with people in our lives, whether it be an ex, whether it be a parent, whether it be someone who stabbed you in the back a long time ago, and we still carry around these conversations with them in our head. That's negative. That's toxic, and we're playing these conversations out in our head. We're holding these grudges towards them, and ultimately, it's just doing ourselves a disservice when we hold grudges towards when we express hatred in our hearts towards others. So, bottom line here, the main message I want to give to you guys is, just if you do find yourself holding a grudge towards someone, first of all, forgive them in your heart. You don't even have to say anything to them. Just forgive them in your heart, because people, they're doing the best with what they know. We're all on this sort of journey of awakening, and people are only doing or acting, behaving based off their level of consciousness, and they can't do anything else other than act in alignment with their state of consciousness. So forgive other people, but on a deeper level, if you are going to have mental conversations with those people who they might not be in your life physically, but they're still in your life mentally, spiritually, have the type of conversations that you'd want to have with them. If you have an ex, have a conversation with them about how you feel healed now, and they're talking about how they're healed, and how they have a beautiful life now, and how you have a beautiful life now, and how all the sort of past and the history that you had between you two, you've made amends with it, and you've both grown from that experience, and it just express gratitude for your relationship. I just put a video out about how we choose to label and interpret events, and how we choose to add meaning to certain events is actually one of the most powerful ways of manifesting. And if you had let's say, a past relationship, and it became toxic, and you broke up and it didn't end well, just pause and ask yourself, like, was this a part of my divine plan? Did this relationship happen for a reason? Did this relationship help me to awaken to something? And start looking for the lessons that you can find in that relationship. Start looking for the beauty in what you considered a dark relationship. Look for the beauty in it. And I assure you that if you do look for the lessons and you do look for the beauty, you will find it. And you will see that past relationship happened for a bigger reason, a greater reason, a divine reason. And once you see it, all that you will have for that relationship and for that other person is gratitude. So, just a really quick video I wanted to make today for those of you who might be experiencing something similar, and just something that you can meditate upon and use to your advantage. So thank you very much for tuning into this video. For those of you who are new, if you like this content, go ahead, subscribe. I'm going to be posting more on a weekly basis. So Thank you again so much, and I'll see you in the next video.